Hey, what's up, everybody? Let me tell you a quick story. Story's about Joe, all right? Joe is an electrician, and Joe was working for an electrical company, making about $50,000 a year, pretty good living. He had a goal, dreams like everyone, to continue to grow his income, to earn a little bit more for his family, to have a little bit more flexibility in his work schedule because, working for this electrical company, Joe has to work nights sometimes because they have emergency hours that they offer, has to work weekends a lot of times because that's when people want to schedule things. And Joe also just wants to build something of his own. He just got this desire to create something. I think that that's a pretty natural desire within us to be creative. And so Joe started his own electrical company and, really worked hard for 4 or 5 years. His wife worked extra hours on the weekends so they could get by because, the first couple of years of this business wasn't making as much as what Joe was as an employee. But now, 5 years down the road, Joe has 2 employees of his own. He's providing for them. He's paying them fair wage for their labor, what they would get anywhere else if they went and worked somewhere for another electrical company. And now Joe makes a $65,000 salary from his company, but he also makes profit distributions or earnings above his salary as the owner of the business of $20,000 to $30,000 a year. All right. Now, Joe actually has an S corporation, and that's how he's set up his business. And so this $65,000 comes out as W-2, just like any other employee from the corporation. And then he makes another $20,000 or $30,000 in distributions. Now, S corporations seems like lately, and maybe it's not lately, maybe it's always been that way, have kind of this bad reputation of being a loophole. Most of the things people are attacking as loopholes, such as S corporations, aren't ambiguity or omission. They're just doing what the law says. The same way, if you don't speed, you're doing what the law says. You're going the right speed limit. S corporations are not some loophole that the rich take advantage of or some privilege of the rich. Like in our example with Joe, the average person can benefit significantly from an S corporation, and a lot of people in this position have S corporations. Not a lot of rich people probably have S corporations. As we saw in the last political election, Joe Biden has an S corporation, and he saved a significant amount of tax on that, and people would call him a hypocrite because he talks about all these loopholes that rich Republicans use. But I'm not getting political here. I'm not letting you know, and if you think you know, you don't, which way I lean here politically. I'm just saying I don't think he's a hypocrite for using it. I think that anyone should use what's in the tax code because you have no liability or obligation to pay more tax than what you legally are responsible for. So in order to use an S corporation, anyone can do it. You can do it if you have a business and it would benefit you. Now, what that means is Joe, in our example, has a $65,000 salary. So he's paying Social Security and Medicare taxes on that salary just like anyone else. But on the $20,000 or $30,000 that we mentioned in distributions, he's not paying Social Security and Medicare tax. So he's saving about 15%. So 15% of $10,000 would be $1,500. So of $30,000, it would be $4,500 that he's saving in tax. Now, there's other things you can do with an S corporation in terms of setting up retirement plans and health insurance, but you can pretty much do those as a Schedule C sole proprietor as well. One of the big benefits, and from what I see, one of the main reasons most people want to do this is to save the Social Security and Medicare tax, which is why the IRS says you have to pay yourself a fair wage. So let's say Joe, for example. If the going rate for what Joe does, and he would have to pay $65,000 to hire someone else to come in and do what he does for his own company, then he has to pay himself that. Now, there are people out there who are trying to pay themselves $20,000 and take the other $80,000 to $100,000 in distributions, and hopefully the IRS is doing a good job of catching them. Now, I can tell you that they're not doing as good of a job as they should be, which is why everyone thinks that they can do this, is because so many people are getting away with it, which bugs me, as you can tell. But the point is, if Joe's paying a fair wage, what he would make working for any other electrical company, or what he would have to pay someone to do what he does for his company, then the rest of the earnings are return, their incentive for Joe taking the risk, all right? It is a big risk to open up a company. You could waste all your money. You might not get any customers. You hire employees and you might have to pay them more than what you make. Then you're in a really bad situation. Now, you take a lot of risk. Part of the reason why people take that risk is the incentive to make a little bit more, or to have more flexibility, or to be proud of what they created and what they grew in their business, to be able to employ other people. These 2 employees that Joe has now have income to provide for their families, and he's paying them fair. The fact that he's making $30,000 of profit in this business doesn't mean that he should be paying them more or that they deserve more. Now, that gets a little nuanced because, what's fair? Well, what's fair is what the market establishes, really. And, if he's paying his employees the $40,000 or $50,000, the going rate for an electrician, and they can provide for their family, Joe's doing a good thing. And I think that there's reward, there's incentive. Because if there wasn't reward and incentive, Joe would never have created this company that now does good work, providing electricity and repairs for people, doing a good work of employing 2 employees who can now provide a home and food for their family. Joe would just be back at the other electrical company making the $50,000 a year because there'd be no incentive, no reason to go out and create this good company that's doing good things for people and for customers and for employees. Because why? What would be the point? All right, and so that's the incentive. And so the S Corporation, like I said, it's not a benefit. It's not a privilege of the rich. It's not a privilege of the wealthy. It's not a loophole that only certain people get. Lots of average people have S corporations, benefit from S corporations, and if you don't, you could. If you're running a Schedule C business on your tax return where you're a sole proprietor, you might want to do an analysis to see if an S Corp would be worth it for you financially, or if there's other benefits of what it can provide for you, because there is a tipping point of where I would say stick with the Schedule C self-employment business, or here's the tipping point, let's now elect S Corp status and be treated as an S corporation because it's going to save you some taxes. That's helping millions of people who are in that average category making $60,000 to $150,000 a year save on taxes and have more to provide for their family, or more money to hire another employee to help grow the economy and provide for other people. My name is Brad. I'm Gluten CPA. My goal is to bring peace to your tax and finance responsibilities. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on the videos, and then hit the bell so that you're notified when new videos come out. Thank you so much for watching.